dear. Has he gone?
He's disappeared.
He's gone. Just me and you.
That's a bit better now then.
Stay with us, folks. Oh. Oh, dear. What is he like?
He's forgotten he's on mute. That's the funniest thing of all of it.
Sorry about that, guys. Sorry, on mute. You didn't hear the music. It just goes to prove we don't just throw this together. Oh yes,
we definitely do.
Welcome to episode 4 of series 4 of The Masked Cricketer. Well done, everybody, for joining us live tonight. We've got an absolute cracker for our Halloween special. Please make sure you come on and hashtag Ask the Mask. Because that will be absolutely brilliant all year. So, first and foremost, welcome to K Hound of the Baskervilles and Weds Badger Spearman. Over to you, Kieran, with our sponsors.
I love the fact that you've been doing this for 18 months and you still can't get your routines right at the start. Yeah, hi everybody. Nice to see lots of people watching live, which is brilliant. The most I've seen watching live for a while, so it's great to see. I haven't dressed up, Sam. Thank you very much. I'm just normal. Welcome to the Masked Cricketer Series 4, Episode 4. Woodsy reckons we're getting close to 50 episodes, which is incredible. This is an absolute cracker this evening. We are a bit late on parade tonight, so is that a clue? We'll find out shortly. We just want to say a few thank yous as always. Massive thank you, of course, goes to Graham Woodward from Great Minds in Summertown. In Oxford and also somewhere in South Oxfordshire. I need to speak to Graham and find out exactly where that location is so he can give him a plug. So Graham will be providing, as usual, the bottle of wine for the first correct guess this evening. There it is. Hello, Graham. Thank you as always, Graham. Tonight's a really good one. Let's see if we can get a different winner this evening. We've had Leslie winning it a couple of times recently. Thank you very much to Graham. Really appreciate your support. Also, a massive thank you to Paul Humphries from Pop Activation, who's been a really kind sponsor and supporter of us over the last couple of years now. He provided the match shirts for the 2 charity games, and we're really, really grateful to Paul for his support. And we're also very grateful to all of you for watching as well. We've got lots of people watching already tonight, which is great to see. Paul Fowler's already put a guess in. Is it going to be Dale Frankenstein? Like that, Paul. I didn't miss that, Daryl. I didn't miss that. Thank you to Sport Shots, Lorna and Andy Bone, for your continued support as well. It's been very much appreciated. And if you want to see any news about cricket or sport across Berkshire, Bucks and Oxfordshire, then visit Sports Shots website. It's your one-stop shop for sporting coverage across the home counties of Oxfordshire. So massive thank you to Paul and Lorna. He's come up with Shahid Afridi as well. Very good, Paul.
Yeah,
I reckon Paul's on that juice that you were on, I reckon, Daryl. That's really it from me in terms of thank yous. I thought it was brilliant that once again you messed up your opening sequence. I actually thought that was deliberate. I thought it was, just silent.
So did I.
Surely that's a silent movie.
And I gather, Daryl, before we go to our Masked Cricketer, I gather there might be a world exclusive at the end of this show as well.
There is a world exclusive. No, if you stay on YouTube at 11:15 tonight, there will be the world premiere of the video of hashtag Ask the Mask. So please
with no sound. With no sound.
Probably with no sound. It's probably something I videoed earlier, so it could be horribly wrong. So there we go. I think it's time, without further ado, to introduce our masked cricketer. He or she is waiting there, and we're going to add to this stream now. Welcome to our masked cricketer. First question is, have you ever played at Great and Little Chew?
No. Sorry, no. That's another no.
Absolutely. Have you ever played in the Cherwell League? No. Okay. Have you ever played in the OCA League? Or what was the OCA League? No. That's fine. I'll go straight in on this one. Have you ever played minor counties cricket? No, not a minor counties cricketer. Okay, Kieran, I see there's lots of questions coming in. Wes, come on, give us a question, Wes.
If you haven't played minor county cricket, have you played first class cricket, perhaps?
First class cricketer.
First class cricketer.
Okay. George Hiley's watching, Daryl. So hi, George. Nice to see you. It's quite late, but nice to see you. George Hiley wants to know, masked cricketer, are you known as a batsman? Are you a batsman? Yeah, you're a batsman. Fantastic. Sam King wants to know, are you Ricky Ponting? Have we got Ricky Ponting?
No, we haven't got Ricky Ponting on.
No. Sorry, Sam, not Ricky, not yet. No. Has he rung you recently or not?
Oh, he's never stopped ringing me for the whole 18 months we've been doing the masked cricketer. I've beaten him off the stick, to be honest. But we have legends on. We don't need Ricky Ponting.
Quite right. Have you ever played for Gloucestershire or England, masked cricketer? You haven't. Okay. Have you ever played international cricket? Do we have another legend? Of course we do. Of course we did.
Of course we do. Of course we do.
Brilliant stuff. Wes, over to you.
Got another question. Are you a cricket coach? So have you coached cricket as well as played it?
Okay. Have you ever coached cricket? So you're not coaching now, but have you coached cricket? You have.
Yeah.
So we have. So we've got Daryl. We have an international cricketer, not played for England, who has been a cricket coach. Are you currently in the UK, masked cricketer, or are you overseas? Are you in the UK at the moment?
Not in the UK.
Right.
Very good. Okay. We're international again. Okay, Dom.
We have. Have you ever played internationally for a Southern Hemisphere country? That's a good question.
It's good. Good question.
South Africa, New Zealand, Australia. Have you played for a Southern Hemisphere country? No.
So no.
Okay. So you played first class cricket.
Are you currently at the T20 World Cup? No. Okay. The plot thickens. Have you ever played for Scotland? That's a good question. No, not Scotland.
Played for Scotland.
Oh, this is
so
good.
So you're a former cricket coach, an international. Okay. Have you? Okay. Have you played Test match cricket, masked cricketer? Do we have another Test match cricketer on our hands? Daryl, another Test match cricketer. Oh, have you retired from international cricket? Have you retired? You have. Oh, could be somebody if you're over 50s, maybe, Daryl.
Could be. That's a bit rude. He might be under 50. Who knows? Have you ever played for Kent? No. Okay. Have you played in the IPL? Good question. I've got to ask this one.
Yeah, I knew you'd ask this one.
One of us has to. Are you, Master Cricketer, a left-hander?
Oh, the left-handers club.
Proper batsman.
Yeah, proper batsman. We like left-handers on here, I have to say. Questions come in. Are you a commentator or have you commentated?
Yeah.
Okay. That's opening up a little bit, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you haven't played for England. You played in the Northern Hemisphere. We established. So that sort of narrows it down. Have you played Test cricket for India, Master Cricketer? No.
Have you been on Sky Sports? Yes, has been on Sky Sports. Great question. Well, a good guess. Are you Niall O'Brien? It's a no.
I hesitate to ask whether the Master Cricketer is really hot under that mask. So you haven't played for India, haven't played for England. Have you ever played for Sri Lanka? Nope. I think that narrows it down to there's only one Northern Hemisphere test. Have you ever played for the West Indies, Master Cricketer?
We're
narrowing it
down. Have you played for Warwickshire? No. Have you played for Nottinghamshire? Has played for Nottinghamshire. Okay, guys, we must be getting close. Some great guesses coming in. Are you Brian Lara? Have you got Lara on? Oh, it's not Lara. Left-handed. We thought we might have got the Lara on. Not Brian Lara. Okay.
Are you Richie Richardson? I thought he was right-handed. I might be mistaken.
No, I think that's a no. Very good. Some guesses coming in now, aren't there? Some guesses
There are, absolutely. Have you captained your country, Master Cricketer? Have you been a captain of the West Indies? Oh, wow. We have a former West Indian cricket captain, Woodsy. That's pretty good.
That is very, very good. I think we're getting very close to unmasking the mask. And I think as Wesley is our guest presenter again, and he's had to unmask Johnny Cater, a local legend, a Scottish actor and comedian and presenter. I think, Wesley, it's over to you. Who do you think our Masked Cricketer is this week?
Well, we've got a few correct guesses coming in, and give me great pleasure to ask, Masked Cricketer, are you the legendary West Indian batsman Jimmy Adams? Have we got Jimmy Adams with us?
It's a legend. Yes. Jimmy Adams, everybody. You can unmask yourself now, Jimmy. You'll be pleased to know in 80-degree heat.
It was getting a bit hot under the mask.
We've always been under that for a long time. So
I'm a bit hot. I don't know why.
You'll save.
Jimmy, thank you ever so much for coming on our humble little show and gracing us with your company tonight. Just give us a bit of how's the sort of last 18 months been for you from a lockdown perspective, and what's life been like for you?
I think like people all over the world, it's been interesting. It's been different. It's been certainly, not what any of us would have imagined, let's say 2 years ago. So I'm based in Antigua at the minute, working with Cricket West Indies, and we've gone through the same cycles that everybody else has gone through, starting with nobody really knowing what this thing was about, and full lockdown, everybody living in a bit of fear on something that was new to most of us, and gradually, strict lockdown being relaxed after a few months, and then getting resurgences and going through the cycle again. So it's been pretty similar to what most countries have gone through, not just Antigua, but quite a few countries in the Caribbean. We still have the challenge, as most countries do, but things have improved a little bit with the vaccines here in the Caribbean, certainly in Antigua. So they have eased certainly the curfew restrictions from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. at night, which makes a big difference. But there are more and more restrictions with regards to vaccinations. The government is asking most people, if not all people coming into the country, and a lot of people who work for the government, to be fully vaccinated. And there are specific issues around that, as well as other countries are experiencing as well. So it's been different, but in all of that, we've still managed to play international cricket. We had a full home season with Sri Lanka, South Africa, Australia, and Pakistan visiting, which was a huge accomplishment for the resources that we have to have hosted those teams here in the Caribbean. So it's been challenging, but I don't think it makes it any more, any less than people anywhere else in the world are experiencing at the minute.
Did you have to be in bio bubbles for that, Jimmy? Was that part?
Yeah.
Of...
Yeah. And it's ongoing. Wherever we have cricket being played in the Caribbean at the minute, it starts with the formation of a bubble and everybody, making sure that they carry out protocols and all the rest of it.
Sure. Brilliant. I know we're getting some questions in, and I know Kieran and Wesley will have a few for you. I just want to take you back initially. Back, I think it was 1984-85. You made your debut for Jamaica as a teenager. What was it like, sort of growing up Jamaica and getting into cricket teams, and what was the culture like around those times?
Oh, it was an exciting time for any teenager playing sport. I played quite a bit of football as well, but cricket started to happen while I was still in school, and I got into the national senior team round about when I was doing my O-levels type year, 16, 17. And I think, the international team had been winning for a long time. And the standard here in the Caribbean was pretty high at the time. And Jamaica had a few quote unquote stars that you were starting to come into contact with quite often: Michael Holding, Courtney Walsh, Jeffrey Dujon. So for a kid coming in that period, it was quite exciting, between the opportunities I was getting locally as well as what the international team were doing. In the mid 80s, they were still winning quite often under Viv Richards' captaincy. So it was quite exciting.
Were there any inspirations for you to go into cricket back then? Who were the main sort of instigators of you getting into the game, and the inspirations you had?
Well, I think you kind of start with my dad and a group of friends that he had growing up on his side of the family. They're very much cricket mad, and he played a little bit at sort of village level when I was growing up, and had the proverbial strip in the backyard, and it was so. But I had kids on the street who like myself, played half a year cricket, half a year football, and so you went from playing in the backyard and the street, and then the parish that I grew up in Jamaica, it had a sort of strong history of cricket, competitive cricket at the primary school level. So before I left primary school, so before the age of 12, I was playing competitive cricket at that level, and it was quite exciting then, because we were in a fairly large primary school in the capital town for that parish. So we had about 1,400 students in the primary school, and once you got into the sort of interzone stage of the competition, the school is going to give sort of half day when we're playing a competitive game, and we would be allowed to play that game in the parish ground, not at the school ground. So it was quite exciting. The school sort of kind of enjoyed you making it possible for them to get a day off, and then, I mean, even then to have, I don't know, between the kids in the school and parents and well-wishers, you could have well over 1,000 people watching the game at primary school level. So that sort of kind of
amazing.
Really created an interest for me, you know, to be playing in front of that kind of crowd. And then went through the school system. I went to high school in Kingston, and they had, most of the high schools had sort of 3 teams, 13s, 15s, 19s, and from performances there, you got noticed, and you went to sort of camps around national under 19 squads. And then from there, they would have picked me up into a first class setup to go and try out for the men's team. And from there, you know, got into first class. So it's a sort of traditional route for most of the guys who would have come from my era or before. You come up to the school system, which is very strong for sport in Jamaica. So track and field, cricket, soccer. It's a pretty strong background for sport, and out of that, they would have selected me for sort of like the national squads, junior squads, and then once you went to the West Indies under 19 tournaments and did well, you had a good chance, which was my route into getting into the Jamaica national setup, and then from there, you know, if you perform well, then hopefully you get into a West Indies squad. So it was most of the guys, Courtney Walsh, Michael Holding, Jeffrey Dujon, all of them from Jamaica before me would have gone through that time-tested route.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. I was just going to, I'll bring K-Dog and Wes in a moment. Just one more question on that. Your coaches back then, was there any particular coach that, you know, stands out from the advice they gave you through that time?
Well, I had some good men around me from I'd say from even, if I'm being honest, even from primary school. Sometimes it's not just about what they teach you about the game or what they teach you about life, if you know what I mean. But listen, I played 5 years of under 19 cricket, because I started under 19s when I was pretty young, and for the last 4 years of that journey, we had an ex-West Indies cricketer called Rohan Kanai, ex-Warwickshire player, West Indies captain, who oversaw both our national under-19s and our national senior team. And he would have been in and around me and my career from, I think, 16 until about 30, because he ended up becoming the West Indies coach eventually while I was playing international cricket. So in a strictly cricketing sense, I would almost look at him as a cricketing father, if that phrase works. He would have known my game, and more than that, he would have known me as an individual probably better than anybody else in the game throughout my career.
So important, that, isn't it? Having that sort of coach-player, you know, relationship, and a legend of our game, Rohan Kanai. I used to like watching him play, I have to say. So yeah, brilliant mentor to have. Kieran, I'll come to you first. There's some questions coming in, and I know you've got a few as well. So over to you.
Absolutely. Jimmy, first of all, thank you for joining us. As we mentioned in the bit where you were masked, George Hiley is watching with his dad. So George is one of our disability cricketers here in Oxfordshire. So it'd be great if you could first of all say hello to him. But he's actually got a really good
George,
question.
George, how you doing? Good to have you listening in, George. And I hope
he always enjoys. He loves his cricket as well. He's actually asked a really good question as well. So other than the Caribbean, obviously, which would, you know, you'd be very biased towards the Caribbean. Which country did you enjoy playing your cricket in the most, and why? So not the Caribbean, so other countries overseas.
This is not a cop-out answer, but I have no favourites, and I'll expand on that. For me, my dream as a child growing up, all the way through, was to play international cricket. And by the time I touched down in a few other places outside of the Caribbean, the buzz is the same, and the cultural differences are just as interesting. The people are just as fascinating, and all of them carried different I guess characteristics that I grew to love. So I really love playing on the subcontinent. I love the culture for people in India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, the you know, Eden Gardens in Calcutta, you know, and then you had the facilities in Australia, and playing against Australia in Australia was magical for us then, because certain things were just Australian. White ball one-day cricket was Australian. Nobody else used a white ball in one-day cricket. Nobody else used colored clothes. So to go to Australia and play World Series cricket that you used to follow when the greats were playing was, you know, and then England, you had all the tradition, the history, Lords, you know, going back 2 million years to W.G. Grace and all of that kind of thing. So I didn't have any country that would have stood out. I enjoyed them all equally, but for different reasons associated with culture, place, the people, and that kind of thing. And it's not a cop-out. I genuinely had the same level of enjoyment across, you know, all the different countries that I visited.
Fantastic. We obviously spoke briefly in the prelim before we went live. But one thing that I always thought of you personally, growing up watching you play cricket, was you generally played cricket anywhere in the world with a huge smile on your face. You clearly love the game of cricket, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I love sport. And yes, cricket allowed me to live my dream for quite a few years. But if I'm being honest, the bigger picture, I really do love sport. Any sport, American sport, you football, you cricket, tennis. I played quite a few different sports growing up. Cricket happened to come together earlier than any other, and so you rode the wave, and it took you to where it did. But I'm still very much a lover of sport in general. But I'd be lying if I said after all these years, yes, you have a special spot for cricket because of what it has given me and all the rest of it. And I know it probably intimately better than any other sport. And I'm thankful for it, but I'm a sports lover at heart, man.
And I use the phrase quite often, but sometimes it's very much a well worth used phrase as a cricketing legend. But obviously, very recently, you've been honoured with a National Order of Distinction award by the Jamaican government for your services to not just cricket, but the field of sports generally. I mean, that must have been something really humbling for you to have that recognition from your national sort of, you know, from your peers in your country.
It's an honor, and yes, you use the right term. It is humbling, even more so because the truth is I can think of quite a few people that have come across my life from Jamaica who I think are more deserving than I am, to be honest, based on what they've given their communities over the years. But that said, I accept the award graciously, and yeah, it's just an honor for your community to recognize, you know, what you've given them and given back to them over the years.
No, it is fantastic to get that recognition. I mean, you don't sort of get into cricket. None of us get into cricket for recognition and for honours, but when you get that sort of recognition, it's a real sort of feather in your cap, isn't it? And you know, at any level, actually. So we were talking a moment ago about young George Hiley. So George has just received a couple of really prestigious honours from the Lord's Taverners for the stuff that he does with disability cricket, and it is nice to get that recognition. And I must say, Jimmy, richly deserved. I'm going to hand over to Wes because a really good question has come in. From Paul Fowler, and I think that Wes can then sort of take that on a bit further. Wes is a Kent fan, apparently, so he's got a little bit of invested interest in this question.
Absolutely nothing wrong with being a Kent fan.
Yeah, this one, as Kieran said, from Paul Fowler. Sort of about all sorts since you left Kent, sort of why you left Kent, if there was any particular reason you left that role in 2016, and following on from that. So what are you up to now that you're no longer in coaching?
Okay, so a lot of things sort of were I think, coming together at the time. But the bottom line was is that my mom suffered a very bad stroke in just before the season ended in 2016. And the long and short of it is that the entire family, my dad had recently passed away before she suffered that stroke, and my other brothers were sort of firmly entrenched overseas. And we as a family and personally, I thought it was, somebody had to be there at the time. It was very difficult for her. She lived in rural Jamaica where we grew up, and so it's to be honest, I think after 5 years as well, I can, even if I'm going to be brutally honest, I think even if Mom hadn't gone through that, I think I would have had to have honestly thought about whether it would have been maybe good timing to continue. 5 years is roughly a generation in sport. It's a cycle, and I look back now and have absolutely no doubt that the time was right for the current coach, Matty Walker, to come in and do his thing. I was very fortunate and blessed to have had Matty work with me for 3 years before I left, and I was in no doubt that he was somebody who could move the team forward, and he has done that. And so I think everything came together at the right time. I think I had family issues that I had to look after, and I also think that the club was ready now to go past me and for Matty to take them forward, which he has done. Promotion into Div 1 just recently, brilliant effort in the T20s up in Birmingham. So these things work in mysterious ways, and I just think that everything came together at the right time for me, for Kent, for Matty and his team, and so that was kind of everything in a nutshell, if you get what I'm saying. But at the time, on the ground, the number one issue was Mum was under a bit of pressure, and we needed to make sure that she was sorted.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that, because
that's fine.
No one wants to go through that at all. So
well, it's part of the cycle,
incredible.
Right? So, you know what I mean? So it's what it is.
Yeah. But I suppose going into your actual coaching there, coached some great players: Sam Billings, Rob Key, the legend that is Darren Stevens, still going strong at however old he is now. Do you have any favourite memories from that 5-year period at Kent?
Again, not a cop-out answer, just the entire experience. I mean, a fantastic club, the players that were there at the time. You mentioned a few, but all of them, the relationships were and are still special. And I do think that, the club was looking to move forward when I joined them in 2012, and I think we made steps in the right direction, and the journey was just an exciting one. Obviously, you'd have had ups and downs, but the players, the people in the club, in the back offices, and the supporters. You used to go to supporters, like supporters meetings. You know what I mean? Those used to be fun. You'd have supporters win, lose, or draw. They're going to be grumbling and mumbling and complaining. You know what I mean? But it was all part of the culture, and it was a great experience for myself. And the truth is, it's the players that make it special, and a special group of players. Obviously, some came and went over the 5 years that I was there, and I look on the squad now, and you've got quite a few faces that I'm not familiar with. But some of the kids that were kids when I was there, now kids now. I mean, Billings and Bell Drummond are big men in their own right. Darren Stevens, like every time I send him a text now, I keep saying, "What's happening, young man?" And I'm not sure if he sees the irony in it, but fantastic effort from Daz to do what he's doing, and to still, like you said, to be playing with a smile on his face, just thoroughly enjoying it. I think everybody in the country has just gotten behind that story, because you don't see it every day. And when you do see it, then you know somebody's punching against the odds because society says and the physiologists say, and Darren just keeps proving them wrong every year. You can't help but smile when you think about it.
I think there's hope for me, Jimmy, actually, because I think he's the same age as me. Daryl always takes the mickey out of me.
He's giving everybody that hope, man. I mean, I look at the old cricket boots now, and my body's telling me one thing, and then I look at Darren, and I'm thinking, you never know, maybe.
Well, don't say that, Jimmy, because if you get over here at any stage, we might be grabbing hold of you to play in one of our charity games. You know, we had Poggy playing last year, and he was coming off one pace and bowling.
I don't think I could umpire, no, man. I'd have the ladies make the teas, man.
That's brilliant. I mean, yeah, Darren Stevens, they seem to be going on a little bit longer. Jimmy Anderson, I should say. Yeah, carry on 39. You know, it's amazing. It seems to be. You know, we play over 50s, over 60s, and over 70s cricket now, and it's amazing that people want to stay in the game for as long as they do. It's fantastic.
Jimmy's just a youngster, then, Daryl, really, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
No, but listen. At the end of the day, there are incentives. But one thing that you have to don't doubt the fact that these guys are very, very highly skilled. Let's start with that. Jimmy Anderson, your Darren Stevens is at his level. They come with an enormous amount of skill, and then science is there to keep bodies going for longer. If you think about it and plan well enough, then Linford Christie showed years ago that you could be in the society's terms past it and still be competing with the best and setting world-class standards. So it's credit to them. But I like, first of all, to recognize the skill that they have. Yes, they're talented, but skill is something different. Skill is talent plus years and years and years of hard work. And being in the business of high performance for many years, I really recognize the work that these guys have added to talent to get to the skill level. You see Jimmy Anderson bowling now, it's just unbelievable what he does as a performer.
It really is. Daryl, I think I'll go back to you for some bits and pieces that I know you want to ask. We're really doing well on the technology, touch wood, at the moment. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? When we were speaking to Straussy 30 miles away, the technology was terrible, but we're over in the Caribbean and it's perfect at the moment. So fingers crossed that carries on. I'll turn to you.
Just to really mention, it's scrolling down the bottom is our YouTube channel, youtube.com/C/The Masked Cricketer. Please do subscribe, hit like, and hit the notification button. You'll never miss me doing something silly or a legend of the game. So please do go onto our YouTube channel and subscribe. We really want to try and monetize that if we can. And obviously, we're doing this all for the Lord's Taverners. So if you can go to our Just Giving page, again, The Masked Cricketer, and donate to anything you can. If you've enjoyed some of the silliness and some of the great guests we've had on in the past, please do donate as much as you possibly can for the disadvantaged and disabled cricketers. So that would be marvellous if you can do that. So it's scrolling down the bottom there, so you can get to that and see if you can donate if you can. I'm coming on with the next set of questions. I'm interested in some of the West Indian changing room antics. Was there a practical joker in your time, Jimmy? Was it you, or was it?
That definitely was me. Culturally, we're not into practical jokes. Culturally, we do have jokers. And we do laugh a lot and we do make jokes, but the sort of the English culture practical jokes thing don't work too well in our culture. But Curtly Ambrose was a clown. He still is, but in them days he masked it well, because to the outside world he was this very serious, very menacing, very tall, very sometimes angry looking individual who could propel a missile at you very quickly. But behind closed doors and away from the public, he was sort of like the life and soul of the team while I was there, and very much the joker in the pack. and you realize just how much of a difference it made to have Sir Kirtley, because he's a Sir now, in a good mood, and the difference it would have on the team. But definitely himself, and if he had a partner in crime, if he was on a tour with one of the Benjamins, Winston or Kenneth, then it was double trouble. But Kirtley was the sort of energy giver to the group in my time, in a very positive way, very clownish, very, always had a joke on hand and all the rest of it. But practical jokes, no, nothing our culture.
I was going to go back to the changing rooms in Nottinghamshire. Was there anybody there that stood out as a bit of a practical joker, or was that very serene or not?
Nah, it was a pretty mild mannered dressing room, I think, by county standards. You had Tim Robinson, who was a senior player / captain, and he wasn't sort of like a laugh a second type of individual, and everybody sort of fell into line behind Tim, kind of thing. Very talented players. Paul Johnson, the little sharp Paul Johnson was there, and Andy Pick and all of them. But a jolly bunch of lads. But I wouldn't have said it was a sort of wild type of dressing room like maybe a few other counties that you'd have heard of in the time,
Yeah, I can imagine.
Sorry to spoil your story, man.
No, that's fine. I mean, it's what it is, isn't it? So no, it's just interesting to hear the different sides. It really is, actually. It shows all the different cultures and how things happen in certain dressing rooms. So it's really interesting.
Yeah. Or listen, it could be that when I was in the dressing room, everybody just got dead, very quiet and stable. You know what I mean? And then just exploded once I walked through the door. So
you've not played any trick on any of your colleagues at all, Jimmy? Is that right?
No, mate. Because I come back to it in the Caribbean. Listen, cutting out socks and it just doesn't happen in our culture, man. Maybe because we don't have spare socks to afford to be able to cut up people's socks and stuff like that. But verbally, oh man, we mix it with the best verbally. But practical jokes, when you start messing with people's kick that, man, do not go down that road. Like, I've saved up for 5 years to buy my cricket bat. Don't mess with it. You know what I mean? Like.
What makes it so funny, Jimmy, is you're talking to somebody dressed as a werewolf at the moment.
Yeah, I've noticed.
It's got to be a first, doesn't it? It's got to be a first for you, Jimmy. I'm with you, actually. I'm a cricket coach and I hate losing a cricket board. You know what I mean? It's like that.
Yeah.
They're precious to me.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you on that one every day of the week, I assure you. I noticed, and this was a fact that came off on Wikipedia, and it's somebody who I've mentioned on here before that I faced and was absolutely terrified in facing it. Somebody called Andre von Truus, who played at Somerset. Managed to get me out, fending off me nose through to the keeper. And I didn't walk, Jimmy. I don't know why I didn't walk, because I was petrified. I'm just crazy, to be honest. But Dickie Bird told me where to go as he was umpire. So that was quite good. But he actually shattered your cheekbone, I believe. So
yeah. It was in a tour game on the 95 tour of England, down at Taunton. And I hope Trucy doesn't take this the wrong way, but he wasn't bowling particularly fast at the time, or in that game, to be honest. I've seen him bowl quicker. But I was in a good place. At the time, now I know what was wrong, but at the time we didn't have that expertise in the game and stuff like that. But, the whole burnout / depression, too much cricket over a period of time, and it caught up with me on that tour, and it sort of came to a head that day. But thankfully, long term, from a physical point of view, there wasn't that much damage. So there's a bit of work that was done around the thing. But I was batting again in 6 weeks. So credit to the excellent surgeon in Nottingham, the hospital in Arnold, who did the operation, because he did a few little very intricate things. So I heard after the operation, but all's well that ended well from a physical standpoint. But yeah, it was a tough period leading into that accident on the day. But as I said, didn't affect my sight or anything like that. So yeah, thankful.
Was it? I think K-Dog's just mentioned actually to me on a message that you didn't have a grill on your
No.
helmet,
Quite a few of us. I mean, listen, it was sort of a crossover period in cricket with regards to equipment during the sort of early to mid 90s. So a lot of us use helmets, but we use helmets with the side pieces and not the grill. And even after the accident, I tried. Honestly, I tried, and I couldn't. Just having something in front of my vision. Listen, I'm sure if I kept going with it, I would have gotten used to it. I have no doubt. But I wasn't. I didn't. I still didn't feel the need for it, and it was very, very uncomfortable whenever I tried to use it, and I wasn't prepared to invest the time to get used to it. Yeah. Thankfully, apart from a few bruises under my chin, top edging sweeps, I never paid another high price for it, and I wouldn't encourage it. I would say, in hindsight, very probably unprofessional, but I'm a product of my time, I guess, and yeah. So yeah, I look back now at the pictures of myself, Carl Hooper, Lara, Sherwin Campbell. All of us use earpieces. I mean, by then I would bat with a helmet without a doubt, but never really got used to the grill in front. And yeah, happy to continue without it.
You mentioned there you weren't in a good space at the time. That it's obviously prevalent with what's happened with Ben Stokes recently. Did you have a support mechanism there when you were going through that tough time?
Not really, but nobody to blame really. The sport just didn't have that information at the time. There are people now that travel with teams that can pick up signs like that, and the worst signs, classic signs in my case. But we didn't have anybody with expertise, and so I knew something was wrong. I'd known something was wrong going back maybe a month and a half before that happened. So I was playing test matches and something just wasn't right. And when I explained to professionals now about some of the things that happened or thought processes and where was it, everybody says, yeah, Jimmy, classic signs, people would pick it up very quickly now and probably intervene before you get to the point that I was at. But it didn't exist at the time, and it's a sign of the times. Man.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that with us. That's very kind of you, because it's obviously a tough time. So thank you for that. I'm going back to my colleagues, K-Dog and Badger. I know you got some more questions for Jimmy.
The professional ones, you mean? Yeah. Okay. Pretty good. Jimmy, I wanted to talk about obviously your test career and batting average at the end of your career of over 41 actually. Everybody always says that if you average over 40 in test cricket, you're obviously an exceptionally good player. A really interesting stat that I found, I don't know if you're a stats person, you probably aren't. I don't think many of the players we've spoken to are, but after 12 matches, really interesting stat, your average was at that stage only bettered by Don Bradman. You averaged nearly 87 after 12 matches. Did that ever worry you, stats, or did you just play for the day that was in front of you?
Not really. You pay more attention to it when you sort of coming to the end, as opposed to when you're sort of in the thick of things. And games are flying thick and fast. Sorry, let me speak for myself. I didn't at the time. During those 12 test matches, the first 12 test matches might have taken 3 years, because I think the first 9 or 10 I only played when Carl Hooper was injured, or if they wanted an extra batsman. So I was really taken up in just, if I do get an opportunity, let's try and make the best of it, so that you're going to sit out when Carl comes back. But let's make sure that if a space opens up again, you've left something in the bank, so to speak, so that, because you'd have had people behind you scoring loads of runs as well. You'd have had Keith Atherton scoring a lot of runs. You'd have had Chandrapal, who eventually came in, scoring runs. You'd have had Roland Holder scoring boatload of runs in the Caribbean. So I think it was more survival. I mean, if I did think about something, it was just make damn sure that you leave something in the bank so that Carl comes in, yes, you're going to sit. But if somebody else gets injured, you want to maintain that next cab off the rank status until and so, yeah, it's nice to look back and say, well, this is where you were after 12 or 13 test matches. But I can tell you for sure that during that period, the focus wasn't on an average or who they were comparing. It's just that I desperately want an opportunity, and if you do get it, make sure you leave something in the bank. Because at the time, and I have no issues with this, at the time, you had your senior players and you might come in if one of them were injured and stuff like that. But, the way the system worked then is that when those guys are fit, they're coming back in the team. And it's just to make sure that if another space opens up at some point in time, you're still there and somebody hasn't come past you. The best way to do that would be just try and leave a score.
And I guess you sort of entered the West Indies side at the time where the West Indies were still top of the world. Really, they had a fantastic side in the 80s. You sort of entered the West Indies sort of setup sort of in the 90s when you still had that reputation as a fearsome competitive side. I wanted to know what your thoughts are on West Indies cricket now as we sort of speak in terms of Test cricket, because obviously there's still some amazing talent within the West Indies ranks, but in Test cricket it's not really sort of recovered to the time when you were playing, has it?
I answer that question through my bias, which is I'm involved in and have been involved in player development for quite a few years, and this is just an opinion. This is my own personal theory. Don't ask me for empirical evidence because it might be there, but I've never gone and spent the time. I grew up in an era in the Caribbean when, for many islands, Jamaica, my island being one of them, Trinidad I know for sure, Barbados for sure, Guyana for sure. Guyana isn't an island, mind you, so don't quote me saying that Guyana is an island. We learned the game playing club cricket, and club cricket meant that you practice 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and played on weekends. And more importantly, you had first class and test players playing club cricket. So if you're a young kid and you're teachable and you have some talent, chances are the scientists nowadays will tell you that you are in a rich learning environment, which was definitely where I learned my cricket. So I had Jeffrey Dujon as a teammate, but first of all as a mentor. So I joined the club in Kingston when I was 13. The same thing could have been said about Courtney Walsh, who started his club cricket at a young age with Michael Holding playing at his cricket club. So that basically was how myself, Brian Lara, Chandrapal, all of us learned cricket, rubbing shoulders with plenty first-class cricketers and a few test players at club level. For different reasons, social, economic, that system is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. And it started to decline, I would say, in the early 90s. By the end of the 90s, it was gone for good. What a lot of countries had done in our period of high dominance was they started looking at how they could produce formally players of a certain standard. And the bottom line is that we fell years behind recognizing that, first of all, and then having the capacity to formally, in a planned sense, produce international quality players. And I think the cricket authorities here know that they recognize that, but it's going to take a while because you're talking about marrying your player development pathways with, for want of a better word, your coaching pathways. How much are you prepared to invest in coaches and coaching standards? Because it's your coaches now who are going to have to formally teach the game. The clubs won't do it anymore. So club cricket in England will identify talent, but it's really coaches in the sort of high performance pathways that polish the rough diamonds in a lot of these countries, and we recognize that, I think, a little bit late. However, we've started addressing it, but it's not an overnight thing, and it's not a test cricket thing. I think cricket in general, so whether you're talking about white ball cricket or red ball cricket, that is pretty much, I think, one of the contributing factors to the decline and the length of time that it is taking to get our cricket back into sort of top 3, top 4 status across the different formats. Sorry for being that long-winded, but yeah.
Brilliant.
No, that's a really fascinating insight. And I heard somebody say once that the world needs a strong West Indies, and I think that, you know, my era, and certainly Daryl's era even more so, remembers the fearsome West Indies sides of the 80s, and it would be really good, Daryl, wouldn't it, to see the West Indies back to that stature again, and sort of being, you know, top of the world. Actually, oh, he's gone.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Lost a little bit of Wi-Fi there, possibly. Hopefully, we can get our special guest back, Jimmy Adams. He's been absolutely insightful tonight. I think it's been an amazing session. So we'll pad out with a little bit of information.
That was my fault for saying how well it was going, wasn't it? So.
Yeah, definitely. So commentators curse yet again from K-Hound. But obviously we can still donate to the Masked Cricketer on our Just Giving page for the Lord's Taverners. So please do go there if you can. We were getting close to the hour. Perhaps you thought, well, we're not close to the hour, I'll just go.
I'm sure we'll be back. I'm sure we'll be back, but we've got a couple of quick fire questions to finish if he comes back. But no, what a fantastic insight that's been. You know, obviously probably a little bit before Wes's time when he was in his pomp, but he's come back.
I'm back.
Good man.
That was my fault, Jimmy. I just said how well the Wi-Fi was going.
We're doing so well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Darryl, I'll hand back over to Wes, because Wes has got a couple of questions he wants to ask. Then back to you, and then I am aware that we're coming up to an hour. We won't keep you for much longer, Jimmy, I promise. But I will have a couple of quick fire questions, and I promise, Darryl, they are quick fire questions. So
that's all right.
They're never quick fire, Jimmy.
Over to Wes, because I know Wes has got a couple of things that he wants to sort of bring up.
Yeah, obviously quite prominent now with the T20 World Cup going on at the moment. But Jimmy, you sort of retired from professional cricket, at least, sort of at the advent of T20 cricket. So just want to get your thoughts on that format as a whole, and whether you think it's changed from when you first saw it back in 2003, 2004 to where it is now, and also the sort of the impact that the CPL has had, the West Indies or the Caribbean Premier League rather, and what sort of effect that has had on T20 cricket in the West Indies.
There's no doubt in my mind that T20 cricket has been I think, again, let me preface my opinion, is that it's had a positive impact on the game of cricket. Why I think more people are following the game because of T20 cricket, which I think is critical for the development of any sport. I think it has broadened the game in terms of skill sets that we're seeing. It doesn't take long to see something that's introduced into T20 cricket where there is not much to lose, so players are willing to try things more often, and they need to stay ahead of the game and be successful before it eventually works its way into 50 over and then test match cricket, and then for the revenues that it has generated. However, like most good things, you know, chocolate ice cream, you know, pasta with bolognese sauce, too much of anything can have side effects as well. So I think with the positives has come a need for proper regulation in terms of scheduling, because now we know 3 formats. If this 100 keeps growing, you might have 4. You want to be careful that you don't kill the goose that carries the golden egg. Okay, but for me, as a personal life philosophy, I would rather have choice and have to learn to discipline myself. So give me a plate full of food and tell me to control myself rather than starve me and it's not there and I have no choice. So yes, I think T20 cricket has been positive. I think it could be even more so based on the revenue streams that it will bring, it has been bringing into the game. But I also think I'm not sure that collectively World Cricket has taken up the responsibility of managing that entity as well as it probably should. So it's not a long-winded answer, but yeah, I hope that in some way has explained my view on T20 cricket. Net positive. Let's leave it at that. Net positive. Yeah.
So a net positive for T20 cricket, but you did mention it, so we will bring it up, and it's the swear word for Kira that he never likes to talk about. But the 100, what were your thoughts on that? Seeing it for the first time this year, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing?
Yeah, the 100 is different. It's novel. I watched it and I had to go and relearn a few rules and regs and so on. But listen. At the end of the day, the world, as an era, we're in an entertainment era with platforms to carry entertainment to every nook and cranny, and everybody's going to be trying to see how best they can entertain people because people pay money to be entertained. Again, I would say if something is going to become a part of world cricket, the world cricket platform, then yeah, there's some boxes that the market will say it has to tick. It has to earn money. That's the first thing, and that's the starting point. Let's say the 100 format kicked off, and it was then it will still be asking questions that I'm saying about T20 cricket now, which is yes, the market is saying it will earn us money. Let's make sure that we regulate it well. Okay, now. The $1 million question for me, I don't have an answer, is where will Test cricket be in 20 years? I don't know. It'll be an interesting journey between now and then. However, I just think that world cricket has a responsibility to regulate, to manage the world game so that the have out there is not just a jungle of stuff that's unregulated and that looks like California in the 1800s with the gold rush. You want something that gives direction, that tells you that this is where the world game is going and all the rest of it, and it's properly regulated. And I think at the moment there's a risk that while you're ticking one box, which is the revenue streams, you're not ticking the others. And my gut tells me that sooner or later you start to run into issues because of that. So by all means, play your different formats and sell the game and create revenue streams and all of that. But at the same time, don't forget to regulate it properly.
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
good insight.
Darryl, I don't know if you got all of that. Did you get all of that, Wes? Sorry, it was a bit of a
yeah. That was perfect. Yeah, brilliant. Just one more thing from me, if you don't mind, chaps. Just want to take things back to Test cricket again, and this is a few years before my time. 1994, St John's. You're batting with Brian Lara, 593 for 5 declared after you came in at 12 for 2. What was it like batting with Brian Lara in his 375 world record at the time? You yourself made a half century that match. What was it like just batting with him and also the changing room at the time to go from 12 to 2 to nearly 600 for 5 declared? That must have been quite an experience.
Yeah, listen, generally speaking, batting with Brian was something that I enjoyed over the course of my career. We were playing together on junior teams from a very young age, both of us. And we sort of complemented each other in terms of our styles and approaches to batting, which made it even more fun. And then, you sort of have the best house in the seat. You're 22 yards away from a genius who is doing what he does best, which is at the time score at 4 or 5 runs and over in Test cricket with it. The rest of mortals were doing it at 2.5. So it was an exciting time, cricket. He and I were both younger players trying to establish ourselves in the game at international level, and he was just in a proper purple patch. He went on to come to the England and county and break numerous records, scoring records, and all the rest of it. But specifically St. John's, it was exciting. It was great to be involved in something that went on to become a world record performance, and to have been there and been intimately involved with it, and for a certain period being very close to a genius doing what he does best was worth it, man. And in those days it was a lot of fun.
Brilliant. No, I actually remember where I was that day when that was going on. Bizarrely, Jimmy, I was at a non-league football match watching it. There was a football match going on, but I was in the clubhouse watching this fantastic innings, and I remember everything about it. I think Chris Lewis was the man that got hit for the boundary that broke the record, from what I can recall. So, Daryl, we're just over the hour, so we did promise we wouldn't go on too far. Just from me, just to wrap up, a couple of genuinely quick fire questions from the audience, Jimmy. I've been compiling them. There's 4 quick fire questions. They could probably be answered in sort of a couple of words, really. First one is your most satisfying Test century.
My first.
Yeah, that great answer. That's probably the same for you, Daryl, isn't it? So
yeah, never had one.
Oh, no, they're not a Test century. I know you haven't had a Test century. But from what Jimmy was saying, there's still time, Daryl. You know, Darren Stevens is still going, so there's still time. Great answer there, Jimmy. The best batter and bowler you ever played against?
Against Wasim Akram, bowler, and Sachin Tendulkar, batsman.
Brilliant. And two more. So this goes sort of across the whole world. The biggest competitor that you ever played against. So who was the person that you knew you were in a game? I know Test cricket, they all would be, but the biggest competitor that you came up against.
Good question.
Listen, everybody carries that trait at the international level, but in terms of drama, just drama. Forget everything else. Just a drama. Dominic Clark, easily. Just drama. Yeah. You know, Dominic Clark. Even if you're racing, even if you're walking on the balcony, Dominic Clark will be in front of you. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's like. But I will qualify that by saying that's a trait that everybody has at that level. Some just don't show it.
Yeah, I remember the hat trick he took actually against the West Indies. I won't go any further, but it was pure theatre, wasn't it? It was. I know it wasn't great for the West Indies, but it was good theatre for the spectators to see that and the way it sort of transpired. And the very last one from me, then I'll head back to Daryl. Just finally, Richard Whittaker wants to know, and this could be across Test or county cricket or first-class cricket anyway, the best captain that you ever played under. I know you captained yourself, but who was the best captain that you ever played under, and why, if that's not too hard a question?
Not many people would outside the Caribbean would know this, but first-class cricket for Jamaica, a gentleman called Marlon Tucker, and the reason why he didn't play international cricket, didn't even come close, but simply being that he made you honestly believe that you could walk on water, and 9 times out of 10 you put in performances that reflected that. And don't ask me how he did it. It is just a skill that he had as a human being. I don't think he was a great tactician per se, but he just got in your head and he made you believe that you could walk on water. And like I said, 8-9 times out of 10, you would perform that way. And nobody has ever come close to that gentleman. And I know there are other Jamaicans who will say the same thing, who played under him during that period. But yeah, so simple answer, even though very few people will be able to
No,
recognize.
It's a great answer. And at the end of the day, it's not always about your tactical nous or your overall ability. It's how you manage players and teammates, isn't it? And that sounds like this chat was very much that for you.
Correct.
That's it from me, Daryl. I think
Correct.
we've picked up to 1 hour 10. So just from me, Jimmy, I know Daryl has a little regular question that he asks at the end, which he'll put you on the spot with. But from me, Jimmy, I just wanted to say a massive thank you. That I think we've had more viewers tonight than we've had for a while. We've had a lot of concurrent viewers all night, and really grateful that you've given up over an hour of your time to come and talk to a man that needs a shave and myself and Wes. Brilliant stuff. I would say it's been one of the best we've had in terms of how insightful it's been. Lots and lots of questions, and that's always a token of where we're at. If we get lots of questions in, it means that it's really engaging. So just from me and from Wes, thank you very much indeed. And I'll hand back to the madman to close and ask his little last question. Thank you very much.
Big
no worries.
Jimmy, I've two. I've got two. The first one is if you had a superpower, what would it be? You can have a little time to think about that. But I'm just going to ask you, what does the future hold for Jimmy Adams in the next, for 2022? What's ahead for you in the future?
Listen, I tread this road very carefully, but I'm currently working for Cricket West Indies, and formally the relationship continues until contractually until the middle of 2023. So in a nutshell, mate, I'll be busy working here in a development capacity as director of cricket, and that's it in a nutshell, mate. Very challenging, but enjoying trying to make a difference here, and so that's pretty much it, son.
Brilliant. Superpower? If you had a superpower, what would it be, Jimmy?
Invisible Man.
Invisible Man, like it. Any particular reason, Jimmy? Is it?
Oh man, the things that you could get up to if you were Invisible Man. Let's not go there, man. Let's not go there.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. You said that you never ever played any practical jokes, and now
oh man, but you see, as Invisible Man, you could see. You could.
You could get away with it, Jimmy, couldn't you? Basically.
Exactly.
I've got to be honest. You've been one of my favourites. Yeah, I try to do that. But brilliant. I've been absolutely fascinated all night, Jimmy. It's been a real insightful last hour and 15 minutes or so. And thank you for your time. It's really appreciated. We love getting you guys on because it's such a different angle each time, and we just have such good fun with you, and it's so informative and good fun. So thank you for that. One thing we do, Jimmy, is I'll probably speak to you off air, trying to get you anybody else you might think that might come on this silly program. We might get you to try and help us tag one or two people along if possible, but I'll talk to you about that. But for now, everybody, I mean, Jimmy Adams, absolute legend. Thank you very much indeed. Absolutely superb.
Thank you all. Thank you all for the invitation, and thank you for what I hoped and has been, thankfully, a really good hour and a bit. I've really enjoyed it, and to wish you and all your efforts all the very best. I know it's a worthy cause, and I'm actually up to the Lord's staff and has set up, and I wish you all the success possible from this effort, and keep it yourselves, because y'all look like you're having a good time. Even the Badger looks to be having a good time, which is good.
That's kind of you, and good luck to you with Cricket West Indies. Try and get them back where they belong. So good luck on that, Jimmy. I really do mean that. It's a massive thing. West Indies.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jimmy. Really, all we need to say is that we're having a mid-season break. Did you ever think we would say that, K-Dog? No. Mid-season break. We're not back now until the 25th of November. we have got an absolute storming episode for you on the 25th. The reason we're doing that is I was supposed to be away in Barbados, so things haven't worked out for that. So we've had to work around that slightly. So this mid-season break, we're back on the 25th of November. We will be back for our sister program, the Pundits Panel will be back beforehand, hopefully with Dan Norcross, George DeBow and Jim Maxwell. So that will be another one that we can talk about, the T20 World Cup and obviously the Ashes, pending Ashes series. So with Stokes' return, that should be entertaining. We'll let you know when that will be. And just really last thing from me is to make sure at 11:15 tonight, the world premiere of hashtag Ask the Mask, the video. If we can get that trending, we get that on iTunes. You just never know. We might raise some more money for the North Taverners. But I think without further ado, great show tonight. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time to hashtag Ask the Mask. Good night.
Cheers. Bye.